Far off in dreamtime, Miriam the kangaroo and Warren the wombat were men. Both of them lived in the vast jungles in Australia. And they both got along fine. You could call them friends. They spent their day hunting all day long. Now at night, Warren the wombat had a lovely gunya made for himself with soft bark and leaves. But Miriam the kangaroo, he liked to sleep in the open. He treated the lovely soft grass like his mattress and the beautiful clear blue sky as his quilt. He never bothered building himself a house. He thought he was just fine outside. Now one day the weather was especially bad. They both looked up at the sky and the sky was not clear. The sky was cloudy and the wind was very, very chilly. Miriam the kangaroo was a little worried. What if it rains at night? And then he looked at his friend Warren the wombat. And Warren went and quickly tucked himself in his gunya. Miriam thought to himself, if it rains, I'm going to seek shelter with my friend. I'm sure the wombat will let me in. Thinking of that, Miriam went and sat by a rock. And then he closed his eyes. And the moment he closed his eyes, a big drop of rain fell on his nose. He looked up, and before he could think of anything else, big raindrops came falling from the sky. And pretty soon it started pouring. The rain came lashing down. The sky rumbled really, really loudly. Miriam the kangaroo was really, really scared. He quickly ran to the trees to seek shelter. But the trees were not enough. The rain came lashing through the trees. Miriam was getting cold and he was scared. And then he looked at Warren's tent. His gunya was waterproof and Warren was fast asleep inside without a bother of the rain. Miriam ran towards Warren's tent and started knocking on it. Hello, let me in, Warren. Hello, Mr. Wombat, let me in. It's really, really cold outside. It's raining. The wombat opened his eyes and grumpily looked at the kangaroo and said, "Oh, go away, will you, you careless kangaroo? Don't you have enough sense? Don't you know? Obviously, you have to have a roof over your head. It rains. Now let me sleep, please." And saying that, the wombat rudely closed the door of his tent. Miriam was really, really worried. He went out shivering and sat by the rock. And the rain was so cold and it just wasn't getting better. He tried to light himself a fire, but the fire just went out. Oh, Miriam was so cold. He looked again at Warren's gunya and thought, perhaps his friend will allow him. He went to try his luck again. Knock, 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 knock. Knock, 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 knock. Hi, Warren. I know I've been careless, but can you please give me a little place in your tent just for this one night? Tomorrow I'm going to build myself a lovely home. I'll not bother you tomorrow. Oh, Miriam, you're so annoying. There's no place in my tent. Miriam saw there was enough place in the tent. But I'm not going to bother you. I'll just be in that corner over there. You won't have any problem. Believe me, I'll not bother you. Just give me shelter for one night, Warren, just for one night. No, no, no. Just get out of my tent this very minute, Miriam, and don't show me your face again. I've had a very, very busy day and I don't want to entertain any guests now. Just get out. Saying that, the wombat pushed the kangaroo out of his tent. Sitting outside, the kangaroo was very, very angry. It was still raining. The rain refused to stop. It came lashing down on him. He was shivering, he was cold, but more than anything else, he was angry. And then he got a very, very wicked thought. He looked at the rock beside him, and then he decided to pick it up. He picked up the rock. The rock was heavy, it was enormous. And amid the lashing rain, he picked up the rock and he walked towards the wombat's tent. And then once again, he went inside the tent. This time, he did not bother to knock. And then he took the rock and he smashed it on the wombat's head. The wombat woke up with a start. The wombat did not die, but the wombat's head was bleeding. Because of the weight of the rock, the wombat's head had become flat. The wombat cried out in pain, "Oh, Miriam, you wicked, wicked Miriam, how could you hurt me? Oh my goodness! Warren, I've hurt you because you were mean and selfish, and I curse you that now that you have this flat head, you and your generations to come, the children, everybody will be born with a flat head because of your selfishness." Saying that, Miriam went out of there. Warren was angry and he wanted to take revenge from Miriam. Yes, he had been selfish, but that did not give Miriam any right to smash his head. Warren was in a lot of pain, so he could not do anything that night. But then, the next day, he began plotting revenge against the kangaroo. He saw the kangaroo chasing somebody. He was chasing a possum. This was the right time to strike. So Warren the wombat picked up a spear and he tiptoed behind. Now Miriam was not aware of Warren being right behind him. Warren picked up the spear and smash! The spear went right inside the back of the kangaroo, and the kangaroo said, "Ow, that hurts!" And the kangaroo immediately went down like that. And this, my friend, is revenge. Because you smashed my head with a stone, I am going to take revenge with you, and now I curse you that you, Mr. Kangaroo, all your life will roam around with a spear in your back. You will roam around all over Australia without a house, aimlessly. You will never be able to build a house for yourself. Saying that, Warren, the now flat-headed wombat, walked away from there. And since then, the kangaroo has a big spear-like long tail. And whenever he jumps, the tail thumps on the ground. And even today, kangaroos don't build themselves a home. As far as wombats are concerned, well, they're still selfish and still flat-headed. And you can find them in Australia.
Lashing, lashing, lashing. Grumpily, grumpily, grumpily. Curse, curse, curse. Revenge, revenge, revenge. Thump, thump, thump.